Hello YouTube, this is Dakota from Bowtied Media, and today I've got a brand new installment of This Week in EDM as we are into the holiday season of sorts, as we are hitting December. So without any further ado, let's hop into it with the bad category. Starting us off in the bad category is Dimitri Vegas and Timmy Trumpet with All I Want for Christmas Is You. I was on board before the drops, but man, I get that we were trying to do this like EDMifying like Christmas classics, but we don't need to completely butcher them. The mixing is muddy, the kicks are weak, and it just isn't all that festive. We've got Elephante featuring Baby I Don't Like You with Taste of Your Tongue from the new Cope LP out now by Elephante. This new commercialized sound from Elephante just isn't it for me. The synth lead is too screechy and overpowering in the mix, while the song is sonically doing very little. It just sounds like generic radio dance pop now. Then we got IVORY and Wales with Personal. I may just be a hater of short songs, as this track barely scratches the 120-second mark, but if you're going to do short, maybe switch up the drops and do something else with the vocals. Just because it's short doesn't have to make it boring. Then we got Magree and UnityTX with Don't Stop, a rock-focused dubstep track with a lot going on in the drops and not a lot happening outside of them. I'll give credit to Gigi for trying a bunch of new things on this cut, but I just don't think much of it landed, especially UnityTX's vocals, which felt pretty phoned in. We got Tokyo Machine and MDX with Deck the Halls. Honestly, guys, I don't think this is a super great holiday EDM remix. It's too loud and in your face for it to be played in like a non-EDM context with like family or friends, and the production style and tone seemingly switches every 10 seconds, giving me a bit of tonal whiplash. I've heard some good and some really great Christmas stuff from Tokyo Machine in the past. This one's not it. We're moving into the meh category with Vicetone's Honey Water. I will give Vicetone some credit here for walking back their frankly bad house-sounding tracks as of late in the past year, but instead they've substituted it for something still equally as boring. Sure, it's light, kind of a feel-good summer vibe, but it just has no meat on its bones. Then we got Stonebank with Comin' Down. Probably my least favorite Stonebank song of all time, sadly. It's just a bit of a basic big room hardstyle, but doesn't really have his signature sound quality and creativity. And again, we've got Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike, Armin van Buuren, and Vini Vici with Universal Nation. Big room hard trance that's meant to get a crowd up and moving. And hey, it'll do that pretty well. It's not the most refreshing song I've heard from any of these guys, but in the right setting and context, I can see how this would really work. Then we have Andrea Botez and Biskuwi with S.O.S, a double whammy of trend hopping with a kind of streamer content creator making EDM now, as well as EDM being this big room, dark, moody techno production. That being said, I don't think it's a terrible track, and I can see some areas where this feels a little bit fresher than the norm, but I just don't really think the big rocks are really there for me to come back to this one a whole time. Then we got Manila, Killa, and Sarah DeWarren with Need You Closer. This new track is a big main floor trance cut that's made for, well, the main stage. It's got a bit of a 90s Euro trance vibe, but otherwise was a pretty underwhelming, more standardized big room sound. Then we got David Guetta, Kiko, and Olivier Giacomotto with Home, a relatively standard, more typical melodic techno track with a kind of by-the-book song structure of that kind of long lead-in into a big solo drop. We've heard it before, and it's fine. Not that bad. We got Former Hero with Heaventone, the Berkham version. Former Hero may be dead as an alias now, but at least we've got Berkham, which is, let's be honest, pretty much the same thing. I get the desire to change out the sounds and tone with this new alias, but I just love the original Heaventone so much, and by cutting the runtime in half and providing a flatter mixdown, I wasn't all that interested in this newer version. Then we got deadmau5 with Familiars. Even though it's a longer progressive house track with multi-movements and great mixing, Joel just wasn't really doing anything special on this one. It feels like a kind of dumbed down version of a really great deadmau5 track. And moving into the good tracks, we've got a bit of a mouthful. Here is Shock 1 with Organism Algorithm, the Bensley remix from the Organism Algorithm Permutations, which is the kind of remix package from Shock 1's album. This might just be my kind of Bensley bias over Shock 1 here and there, but I thought this remix was a stronger version of the original, which that being the title track of the album, I felt a touch underwhelming the original, but Bensley just seems to turn the pacing up a bit on this track and keep things moving along, which I quite preferred. And here's my hot take, Riot 10 High Octane. Honestly, guys, this ain't that bad. And I've been on the Riot 10 hate train for a little while now, and there's a bunch of tracks of his I severely do not like, but this one just worked for me, and it really shouldn't have. It's under 2 minutes, it has a wall of sound, kind of aggressive D&B, but nah, it's fun. The car locking noise, I think it's pretty fun, it's playful. I don't know, I just enjoy this one. We got Turquoise Death with Break the Sound, a fun, carefree breakbeat track with a chaotic energy and relentless beat. That being said, it's another track that's under 2 minutes and does feel like it could have used an extra movement somewhere. But those 2 minutes are hella captivating. Then we got Culture Shock and Graphics with Make It Pump, dance floor drum and bass with big vomit-like, almost froggy lead synths. And honestly, I really enjoyed those synths, as I think it kind of turned the track from something that would have been pretty standard into something fairly unique. We got Flaws, How Does It Feel from the new Refocus EP. This is a sentimental, more emotional electronica cut that's quite soft and serene. This newest Flaws EP feels like it kind of his main focus was solely to kind of get an insight into his mental state and just produce songs that were very real and raw, and I think he did a great job. And we got Vini, Going Quantum, and Novelist with Never Miss, a big drum and bass collab that reminds me a lot of the Chase and Status style of production. This is, there's enough here that it's clearly inspired by Chase and Status, but not egregiously copying it, as this cut is a lot smoother and a little bit more, maybe even linear in a good way, I would say, mixing-wise. We got Opadan with Untitled Signs from the new Untitled Signs EP. This is a minimalistic, cruising, more relaxed UK garage track that has a really strong bass guitar presence to it. Just a solid, well-mixed track that sounds pretty great. We got Loco Dice, Skrillex, and Fireboy DML with Heavy Heart. Absolutely bananas track that primarily works around a tech house beat, but sees moments of kind of garage, bass house, IDM, and even some more. It's a genre kind of smoothie of a bunch of different sounds, and I enjoyed it. We got Beast Boy with Rogue, another solid, crunchy dubstep tune in the way that only Beast Boy really knows how. It's explosive at times and reserved at others, but completely just another solid, holistically great song from Beast Boy. Then we got Riot and Frankie Nuts with Mercy. From a purely production standpoint, I think this is one of Riot's best in a long time, while Frankie is doing classic Frankie things. Vocally, I'm a little torn here as well, as I appreciate the inclusiveness of a vocalist with at least a subtle lisp, but I find it a little distracting, and maybe that's just something that I need to get over personally, but overall, I still really, really like this track. Then we got Sān-Z and HOYO-MiX featuring Weirmere with Fearless. Honestly, I only found the song because of Weirmere's vocals, but damn, I'm glad I found it. This sounds like it could have easily been like a video game soundtrack song for like a Valorant cinematic or arcane fight scene, pretty much anything from Riot Games. But it's got a dense mid-tempo sound with Weirmere's like incredible vocals on top of it all. Absolutely killer track, and I'm glad I found it. Then we got Disclosure and Pas Lieu with King Steps, a new UK garage track in its truest form from Disclosure as we kind of near towards some seemingly new project of theirs, hopefully coming out at some point. But that being said, in the pocket of singles that we've kind of got up to this point, this is probably my least favorite. I still think it's a great track, but doesn't quite have that signature Disclosure sound and tone to it that I've come to know and love and deeply appreciate. Then we got Butte Noise with Perk Statement from the new Sunken Valley EP. This track in particular has a unique blending of kind of rhythm and jungle elements, yet refusing to lean hard one way or another into either one of those individually. It rides this almost like melodic line as well the whole time, and I just think it worked beautiful. We got More Kismet with The Laced Up Theory. More Kismet is on a tear with this latest single, and they go for a more fleshed out kind of track holistically rather than just colorful leads and synth runs, almost like they're kind of showing off. I think it's a good look for them, and I'm really excited to hear more stuff like this that is a little bit more honed in and streamlined. We've got Jamie XX, Rami, and Oliver Sim with Waited All Night, the Naya Archives remix. Seemingly out of nowhere, a speed garage remix from Naya Archives that absolutely slaps. And while it's pretty much nuked all the emotions out of the original, it brought its own sense of fun and energy that the original just didn't really have. This remix did a lot of remixing and did it all quite greatly. We got 1788L with Nanoblade from the new Type Volume 1 EP. This is a crushing, high-velocity D&B that cooks and cooks and cooks. I imagine watching like an underground cyberpunk street race while listening to this track. Hugely enjoyed this one. Go listen to it, please. I don't even know me. We've got Just a Gent featuring Loren with A World of My Own from the new The Answer Is LP by Just a Gent. But yeah, this man was cooking on this album, and this track in particular is just another brilliant, wonky, future-based cut with strong supporting vocals from Loren. This actually is one of the longest songs from this 21-track album, and I'm really happy he played this one out just a little bit more than some of the other tracks. And then we're moving into the standout category as we've got Gentleman's Club and MPH with Good For You. Absolutely nasty underground dubstep, a mixture of Skrillex's Quest for Fire and classic Zed's Dead. This track isn't super long, but pretty much gives up that kind of like this gives you this raw, meaty middle, and that's the entire song. The bass line is dense, the melody is dense, it's a perfect track for just the kind of most EDM settings, and again, I think it's fantastic. And finally, we've got Snail's House with Yukataka. Snail going full Porter Robinson on this new track as they embrace a picturesque, longer electronica track with a Japanese aesthetic and bright tone. This, more than anything I've heard from not Porter Robinson, sounds to me like the truest blend of Worlds and Nurture from Porter Robinson. And there's a lot of comparison there, which is just a way to say, go listen to the new Snail's House track. It's fantastic. I believe it's some like honorary track to Akira as well. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I love the aesthetic of this track, and I think it's amazing. But that's been This Week in EDM. Let me know what you guys think of any and all songs in the comment section below. But other than that, I'm Dakota from Bowtied Media, and I'll see you guys in another video.